Springs has half of the median household income that area offers and less than it's around it. So as you talk to retailers, it's how do I like my odds of where my business is going to fare? But that didn't stop us. And I did not bring an exhaustive list of all the retailers that we've talked to and told us no. Because it was our fiduciary to you to talk to them and see what we could do. And there were all sorts of other plans that have come and gone along the way. I spent time chasing down more of an automobile sales theme to a portion of this site that did not come to fruition. At one point in time, there was a project that I kind of thought could be a neat idea that did not come to fruition. And I've met with Adrian before about, thank you for joining us, his plans, and here are the facts as they lie. We've got a really big area that we're working with, and while clearly you own and control the former Indian Springs Mall site, some abutting properties, after having this much time and my money in this, we're talking about an even bigger area than that we need to be talking about a path forward. The grocery store left the development across the street. I think there are a lot of issues with the former water tower center. There's vacant commercial in and around this corridor. And what can we do to bring positive momentum and direction back into the community? That's what I've been having visits about. And we have a lot of land to work with. And when there is a will of your people, and a group like ours that's willing to put our money where our mouth is, there is a way. So I will share more of that with you at the 6 p.m. meeting, including some perspectives on Prescott Plaza. That's 18th Street Expressway and I-70. I've been there. I've shopped. I think it's a good-looking center. I think it's successful, at least by the number of cars. I don't get sales reported from any of these retailers, but by the sheer number of cars that are there, I would view that as a successful project. 78th and State, the Wyandotte Plaza redevelopment. That's something I would have liked to have done. That's right in my wheelhouse. In revitalizing an old center and making something better than what was there before. Prescott Plaza is 10 acres. Wyandotte Plaza is 16 to 17 acres. That is the sense of scale of this. The former mall site is 45 acres. The unified government owns 30 acres south of that, which is under mine. And I've shared with Pastor before, intuitively, that's where sports field and some of these other uses could be. I'm not here to tell you where everything needs to go. I give you my ideas, and it's based on out talking to people and trying to do a better thing here. So, what brings us here today is every single retailer that we talk to, and it's not just retail, because we have a lot of land. There are opportunities for senior living. There are opportunities for multifamily. There are opportunities for medical. And it can be in and around this project, or it can be in the surrounding area. And I think we need to plan for that. We need all of our voices to be heard. But I don't think that prohibits us from a here and now, which is we need a reinvestment and a catalyst in this site, which our personal thesis is this FlexTech Park. That's not what we develop every day, so we have gotten really smart people on our team to help us think through that. And what is FlexTech? The answer is it's flexible buildings that are built to serve a purpose to hold offices, light industrial, research. And I'll give you 2 examples. My architectural partner on this project, who also designed 39 Rainbow, our project in Argentine, and the Northwood Shopping Center for us. They started their company in a building just like this in Lenexa, because they had a need for an office component, and it is reasonably priced, and it has good visibility to the interstate, and in back they had surveying equipment and storage and a bunch of other things because it's flexible. And I'm not going to try and draw too many parallels to Johnson County because that's the end-all, be-all, because it's not. This product exists all over the country. But I often think of the Granite Supply Store or something like that that needs that visibility to the highway. They need a showroom. They need a first weight and quality building, but they also have to have storage and warehouse for the product. Those are things that it could be. I don't have tenants. I don't have tenants because I don't own the land. Our deal is not done with the unified government. We're up for a vote next Thursday, and we're out here listening to your thoughts about the first phase of this project, answer questions about the ground we've covered in getting up to this point, and talk about what other ideas are out there and how we can all find as much of what we want to hope to get this area reborn.
For people who weren't here last year, do you want to specify where you're talking about Flex Tech?
Yes, I will. Thank you. I get kind of into my own head, so stop me and get me back into line. And I want as much time for questions as possible. So we think this type of project helps get the reinvestment. It helps bring jobs to this area. I have not done this math, but I would bet, and I am not a betting man, that from the time the mall was a go in Jesse to when it was acquired to nothing happening for 10 years until it's torn down, the property values in and around the adjacent area have gone down. I don't know that for a fact. That's a guess. As such, we want to get a reinvestment back into this. And so we're talking about a $25 million, all told, built-in phases. This is the first building. This is the south 26 acres. There's a little blow up here if you want to come look at it, of the former Indian Springs Mall site.
So it's building 2, I think.
Building 2, strike it, reverse it.
So
Where those types of uses would, I'm sorry, where these types of uses would be, and we think this helps provide the catalyst, and not by a report we put together, approximately 380 jobs that could be created there, of people who help put pressure on the area for reinvestment in their homes and want to have at least a chance of wanting to live here, and help drive our continued efforts, or at least what we hope, is having a better opportunity to attract some retail here. And I don't know what that retail, I don't want to presume, and your opinion may be different than your opinion, and that's okay. This is America. We can have lots of different opinions. Let's talk about it. And let's find constructive solutions. And what other community uses are needed here? And how do we achieve that? We think this is one part of it. It's getting jobs and investment here. And we think we can be successful at this. And the reason by doing so is when you talk to businesses that are where you go and get gas in your car, or the sandwich shop is, there's my daytime population. There's that good looking stuff that helps drive business to my business besides just the neighborhood. I'd pause for any questions, anything that I omitted that you feel is germane to just setting the table.
No, but if I do, I'll raise my hand.
Okay. Let's pause for questions, and then we can talk about the project. Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to ask, is the first phase facing 635?
Yes,
So,
as contemplated.
okay, so it would be perpendicular to 635.
635 kind of does this right here.
Building 2 or building 1?
Yeah,
Two.
the warehouse one.
Two.
That's two.
And we don't know what this is. And here's why. If we're successful with this, it could be more of this.
So what we're calling building 2 is our proposed first building. Right.
That's
We'll
what's
change the
getting
numbering on
confusing.
the plan, I'm sorry.
So that's building 1 or building 2, the smaller building?
Well, I think
That's the first thing
this
you're
all
gonna
told
build.
is close to 200,000 square feet because it's deeper. This is a little over 160.
But the one on the left is the one you're gonna build first.
Second. First.
This
The
is
first
warehouse
building
building
would
first.
front the interstate. And here's what's important to understand is there is over 30 feet of fault across this property. If you sit right here, we had a good snowstorm, it's hypothetical that you'd be here very quickly if you're on a sled. So this plan contemplates terracing this site because you have to keep your grade balance. It's grossly expensive to move all of that soil on site or off site. So from our perspective, both of these buildings offer a nice view corridor to the highway because the highway starts really high. As you come driving 635 south, coming over this site, you kind of look down onto all of it. If you drive by it sometime, you'll see generally what I mean. We're just getting started. And clearly we've got a lot of ground to cover as it relates to what happens on the middle portion of the site. It's 10 acres. That's the same area as Prescott Plaza. What happens on the front part of the site? That's about 13 acres of additional land to work with. And what happens down here on 30 acres that's undermined and could really only be ball fields or something like that. It can't hold buildings. That is because one collapsed there, or so I'm told. I'm not making that mistake twice. Unified Government owns about 7 acres right here across the street. It's fairly shallow. Is that an opportunity for housing? It's right across the street from the transit center and the Central Patrol. These are things that we need to be talking about.
Now, you have an industrial park back there.
What's that?
You have an industrial park back
No,
there.
there is industrial that exists today, the striping company and other, which is across the street. There's a narrow strip right here that's about 7 acres that the Unified Government owns. They also own the hard corners up on State Avenue on both the northwest and northeast. This is all land that we need to work through what it wants to become. And there are going to be a lot of good ideas. This is one that has stayed with us largely throughout this process, that we think these types of businesses want to be here and can help be a catalyst. Yes, sir.
So can you discuss a little more in detail the process of selecting the businesses and then who will have the final say of what businesses will actually go into those buildings?
Sure. It's market. It's market driven. And this site will be competing against other sites of Kansas City, Kansas, Riverside, very close, Olathe, Lenexa, Kansas City, Missouri. And unfortunately, it appears to be somewhat of a race to the bottom as it relates to the amount of incentives to attract those businesses. Our deal is we have asked for a 75% tax abatement for 10 years. So there's some benefit that comes during the first 10 years to 25%. And after that, it's on the tax rolls. And we think those buildings probably generate about $400,000 worth of property taxes when it's all constructed. And that's just shy of 400,000 square feet of flex or business park type of use. Kansas City, Missouri, via the Port Authority, now it's 100%. And they're offering that in the Three Trails area and other parks up around Worlds of Fun off of 210. So we're not even the best looking deal. But this is a good location. And it's got good bones and it's got good visibility and it's got good access to the site. So, all that being, yes ma'am.
Does that building, you mentioned looking down at it from 635. How tall guess I feel a concern for what would be visible, what you would be able to see behind it.
It's 39 feet to the top of the panel,
And that's
and,
all,
and we know that the HVAC units would likely be behind that, so those would be screened, so we're not looking at that. That's one of our primary first concerns, because hopefully your takeaway today is, hey, you may hate this idea and you might not like what I'm saying, but we care a lot about our relationship and working with community partners in the projects that we've done, and we want to build quality.
Hunter, back to the gentleman's question, do you want to talk a little bit about how we care about prioritization and what tenants we select for our development?
Yes, I'm sorry for getting askew on you. So that's how tenants are looking at this from a metro, and it may be a multi-metro. There may be somebody who's looking at putting a facility here that may also be considering Omaha, Des Moines, Wichita, and we're competing for those deals. Our group is the landlord, just like I don't operate the Subway shop at 39th and Rainbow. We just build the buildings and work with communities and keep them up. I wouldn't operate these businesses here. These are triple net leases, and so the tenants, that is who we're buying for with this tax abatement for that period of time. But we sign leases,
And you get the profits.
yes, and we make the investment.
That's a bad deal for us, though. It's a horrible deal for us. Because we gave you the property for $750,000. Now, you're saying $485,000 taxes per year, but,
No, I think I said around 400.
okay, 400, I'm sorry, I wrote, let's get it right, 400,000 taxes per year. Where are you getting that number? Because you don't even have any idea of who you're putting
It
in
was
it.
a third-party report that was commissioned by the unified government.
But, okay, so then, if they can put them in, if you can get them in there with those numbers, then I'm on board for us building it, because we own it. We own it now. So why would we give it to you for pennies on the dollar, and then watch you, and it's not about you, not you.
But I don't
It's
take any of this personally.
It's about our taxes, because if this property is given to you, then that's money that we are continuing to pay on our tax rolls that are brutally fifth in the entire state of Kansas and among the highest in the entire nation. Now, you made the statement that you would bet because Indian Springs basically died, which every mall in this country has done, but nobody raised their areas. If that was the cause, then the plaza would be gone because it's loaded with crime. But you made the comment about the taxes, our property values went down because of that. No, you're so wrong. Ours went up. As a matter of fact, some of us tripled. And I think it's beautiful. Listen, I am not against you. I am 100% for this project. It simply needs to be in a different place.
And I respect your opinion.
That is all that is. That's my
I
opinion.
respect your opinion, and I appreciate it, because you live here, lived here a long time, you've run a successful business, and you have obviously a very, very smart woman. And I just want to give you a quick counterpoint, which is there's nothing stopping you from doing that. No one's approached me with that idea
Well,
over
the
the last
city
3 years.
The city's stopping us from doing it.
Well, here's the thing is, no, I'm sure you can appreciate this. There wasn't a line at our door of lane fives from Texas's or this, that, or the others that wanted to make an investment in this property. So we've got enough invested here. We said, well, okay, well then we'll take the risk and put up this first building on the bet for the future. But we're paying $750,000, and it is a $25 million project. So in order to go execute, you will need a business plan and a bank behind you, an experienced team to, unless somebody's just writing a check, to go get this done and take the profits from it. That is how it will work for me. We'll have to sign personally on a loan. I don't know to who, because we're not approved to do this, to go build these buildings. And if it doesn't work out, that's a really big problem for me because it's a big project. And this tax abatement, part of it, the 25% the unified government gets now, which is, no, we're not talking about huge dollars, but it's net positive, not net negative from what's been created. And once it gets off of the abatement, all of that money flows to UG. Not to me, not to the project. It's a market deal. And just one last point is, and here's what's really tough is, there's a lot of money in this site that's been funded, and I don't have a plan to try and harvest that for investment in one fell swoop. Wish I did. My life would be really easy, and I probably wouldn't have spent much time and effort in getting to where we are today. But we're talking about acquiring a portion of it and still having a lot of room to talk about and plan for and build lots of different uses on this site and in and around this area. And that's just my position. I respect yours, and I thank you for offering that commentary.
But we have to be clear of the portion of the property that you're asking for, because I agree, you're not asking for a big part of the property, you're asking for 1/3. That's pretty big. That's pretty big. That's
Well,
1 out of 3. You have 1 out of 3 babies and you want one. That's
you know,
pretty
you made
big.
the comment that retail is dead,
And it is.
Well, neighborhood retail still
It
exists
is.
today. We've still got some really successful shopping centers. You know, Prescott Plaza is a big example of that. That scale happens in 10 acres. We haven't met a single person who wanted to put a large format retail store this deep into the site.
Maybe we're not saying we want retail. Maybe
I'm
we're-
not saying you are. I'm just telling you we've talked to people and we know what their answer is.
But my question is, why do you want the frontage? You're wanting the
I
prime
don't. I'm
part.
not asking you for that.
Okay.
I'm not asking you for that.
That's
That's
not
not
the
part of
third
this
one.
deal. No, that's not a part of this deal. I'm just telling you how our experience has been on this project and the ideas that we've had in differing visions shared. Because I've had a lot of people tell me, my grocery store closed, left this community for dead, got a dearth of services. It's 6 miles from 78th and State to 18th Street Expressway, not counting dollar stores and a number of things that I didn't hear at the top of the list for uses. And that's a long way to go get groceries. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. That is a long way. And I don't see a collection of interesting and hopefully local. Commissioner Bynum had a great idea of, hey, let's do something different here. These people are beating down our door. Let's maybe think about what retail we could have here, and let's take a local focus on that. I love that idea. It's got a story. It's compelling. There are a lot of successful local businesses in Wyandotte County that might want a second location, and since you own the property, let's think about if there's anything creative to help drive them here.
Hunter, isn't the area,
And I'm sorry, if it's come across a argumentative tone, it's not. It's just that I'm passionate about it, as are you. And hopefully we feed off one another here for great things. That's my hope and goal and intent. Yes, ma'am.
Since you're talking about putting this property, this site on this property, since Indian Springs was there, they told the community that the ground was not sound. And that's the reason why they tore Indian Springs down. What are you going to do that's going to support what you're talking about putting in there now?
Great question. Thank you for asking it. I don't know the validity of that, the first piece of that statement, and here's why.
Hunter, can you speak up a little?
Yes, I can. How about I move over here? Does everybody mind redirecting your? We know there are underground springs around this Indian Springs, and so we know that's one thing we have to deal with. But there was a 600,000 square foot mall that stood there for a very long time, and I don't think it was taken down because of the soundness of the structure. It was taken down because the businesses didn't want to be there anymore. We have done, at my expense, geotechnical engineering reports on the southern portion of this property to help us frame up our calculations for the footings and foundations for these structures. The last thing I would ever do is put up a building that we think would be unsound and unfit for tenants. It'd be unfinanceable.
And why not is, what is in this project that will impact our young people, like a community center?
That is not what we have proposed. I am not a community center developer.
Okay.
Communities develop community centers
Mm-hmm.
and
that's
pay
the-
for them and fund them.
Okay.
And
That's
the,
another-
the point I'm sorry to interrupt you,
Go ahead.
if you feel like it, is these things are not mutually exclusive. The South 26 acres, well, hopefully success begets success, at least that's the thesis, there is still plenty of room in and around this site for multiple other uses. The senior living facility, sorry, getting tired, it's been a long night too, that I developed in Mission is very near the Matt Ross Community Center. I didn't develop the community center because largely those are done on a not-for-profit basis, and we do our projects for profit. You know, we have to pay our people and make a return on our investment, not something that's unfair, because this is a very small world, very small town, and unified government is very small. So, hence to our reputation, why we care a lot about valuing others' opinions.
Okay, now, with that being said, I don't know whether you can answer the question now, but why aren't there more members of unified government here? That's
Well,
who we need to talk to.
I think there will be this evening at 6 p.m. And I know Commissioner Bynum's here, who's at large. I'll
So
get you close, but I just want to answer.
Possibly 2 more commissioners will be here.
And what about the mayor?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
If you
I can address it partially. The mayor's has a staff person in the room. We have Mr. John Stevens, our interim economic development director. We have Mr. Emmerich Cross, liaison to the commission with the administrator's office. And myself. I think part of the reason is this meeting is the required by law developers meeting that every project, even special use permit applications, are required to hold with the community. And so it's a little bit different than the community meeting we held a week ago and the community meeting we're holding at 6 o'clock tonight. Those two meetings, last week and tonight, were called by us. This meeting is technical in nature because it's a required part of the process that developers and anyone who has a planning and zoning item coming are required to do per our ordinances for projects that are looming on our agendas. I hope that makes sense.
No, that's correct. And so, no one forced many of you who were here last Thursday at 6 p.m. to be there. No one forced me to be there either. These are elective meetings that we're having tonight and last Wednesday, because by my estimation, there's a lot of opinions that need to be heard about this area, about this project. And so let's take the time to do it.
I guess I'm curious as to the notification process, because no one has been notified. So we're talking legal requirements, but no one was.
I can speak to that. So this meeting specifically was for our planning and zoning process. So our preliminary and final plan and preliminary and final plat, which get heard in May by the unified government. And the notice goes to, per statutory requirement, not my requirement or whoever's requirement is, to property owners in and around a certain circumference from this site. I don't even remember what that circumference is. I know many of you are here who don't live within that circumference because you're here because you're interested and you want to have your voice heard. So now we're using the time we've got to meld a bunch of different conversations, but the true purpose of this meeting was to talk about planning and zoning issues. I'm just trying to use all of our time
But it's troublesome.
together well.
I understand, but it's troublesome because you're saying this is planning and zoning. This is whatever planning and zoning statutory meeting. But none of us who own that space were notified that this is happening. We found out by accident. that brings to front issues of trust, whether it be for you or whether it be for our commissioners. We have a history in this community of having property that we own, because we pay these taxes on it, stolen from us. We wake up one day and all of a sudden they're clearing out Turner Diagonal and building a building, and nobody knows. I'm getting phone calls, Dennis, what are they building over there? And this is what's happening here. Suddenly a Lane 4 sign shows up, and, well, somebody better check because something's going on. There's some fishy business. Well, the problem is that then you stand up and you say, and it's not your problem. This is our leadership. This is an issue we need to take up with our own leadership. We weren't notified. And then you end up with a room full of hot, angry people with the prospect of breaking ground in 2 months. See, you all are prepared to break ground in 2 months. That means a deal is done. The deal is done. This is all us wasting our time because there is a deal, whether it is on paper or whether it sounds great and everybody's on board. There's a deal that's done, and we don't know what that is. And for us to sit here, and I say this, it's almost, it's insulting, because not you directly insulting us personally, but it becomes a question of, what does the master plan say? Because if we follow our master plan that is already established, that we've already voted on, everything that is being proposed is wrong.
Well, I'm
It
not
doesn't
sure
fit.
what the most current master plan for this or Raven Springs site is. The master plan for that area is at least a decade old. We've changed master plans in many places in this community by a vote of the governing body, Hyper being one example.
This is the master plan.
So when you say master plan, do you mean the zoning of it, or do you mean the desired outcomes? Because master plans are plans that are malleable and changeable. I don't want to take away from Mr. Harris's time.
No, that's
but
okay.
I think that, we can
I
back
don't
up
wanna sit
to.
here and blather at you. That's not my intention. So I can appreciate the dialogue that we're having here. One fact is the underlying zoning on it is business park. So we're not rezoning the site for any of this.
It's mixed use.
It's master plan.
It's mixed use. It's zoned mixed use. And according to mixed use, discouraged uses of mixed use is industrial, business parks, and car lots. Those are discouraged according to the city's master plan. And what I hear you saying is, and according to mixed use, located in a major arterial intersection, the allowed uses are specialty retail, sit-down restaurants, convenience retail, such as banks, drugstores, professional and office services, institutional churches, schools, libraries, parks, plazas, and open space, mixed density residential. Now, when all of this came to front, Jim Walter said the types of tenants according to the agreement in the categories should be and will be grocery stores, department stores, junior box stores, small shops, restaurants, banks, and other business, and possibly senior living apartments, flex space, governmental facilities, industrial offices, and other uses. This was printed in the Wyandotte Daily News, May 1st of 2014. If we do this mixed use that you're proposing up here, which goes against our plan, our master plan, then we go against immediately what mixed use is for, because it says that you cannot put single-family dwellings in a mixed-use project.
So you would put in a change of zone application, and it would go through the planning and zoning process.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, these are the exact type of conversations that are going to be discussed and considered by the planning commission, by the board of commissioners as we go through the process. I don't know exactly where the plan you're quoting from. This is Kevin. He's with Polsonelli. He's an attorney. Thank you. He handles our land use.
I am using the master plan that is our city's master plan that is on the website and proposed as our current by our leaders.
Okay. And as you just mentioned, you'll obviously have a chance on the 27th. There's a portion of the meeting that will be set aside for public commentary. And if you're happy to.
But that's what we're
the
here
point.
now
This
for.
deal isn't done. If it were, I wouldn't be so nervous and I wouldn't be spending my time here with you.
Okay, I do have one thing to say about that. First, I want to introduce myself, Dennis Keith Jordan, mayoral candidate. I know you're saying this deal is not done, but from things like I've read, we jumped right into this right away. That there's been other
3 years working on it.
well, but there's been other proposals and that stuff that have been turned away. But then this one here, we're just jumping right into. Now, here's one of my concerns that I have about this whole entire thing: is we're going to build a business park, but we don't know who the tenants are going to be. Correct? So basically, we can wind up with the same thing that Merriam had, where the IKEA is, just an empty building that's brand new and sit there for the longest time, and no one want to go into it because of the area. Now, I hear there are a lot of people that want to talk about grocery store, living facilities, and that stuff. Why can't we just go like to Walmart when they're turned down by Mission to bring that Walmart there? That they were going to put 345 apartments on top of that Walmart. So now we're getting our grocery store, we're getting residential areas, and we can build on from there. Build into with some senior living facilities into that there with the grocery store, and then maybe a community center later on that I was talking about.
Good thoughts, and I'll respond to both. The project that was stifled in Miriam was a retail shopping center. It was built for Circuit City as an anchor, and Circuit City went BK during that time. So there you sat there. That is a retail deal, and I think it speaks to some of the issues that I'm speaking about large format retail and how that's changing. Now it's different than how the legends of the Plaza, the Speedway, and this other stuff was developed. It's just changed. Walmart. We've talked to them. I brought them to Argentine. At the present time, they do not want to be here.
Right. Well, I don't know, but I know that they wanted to be in Mission. They had that big plan, but Mission didn't want them.
Trust
It's
me.
right down the street.
I don't own the site in Mission.
Right.
I would have loved to have brought you a deal to consider that would have been a Walmart Supercenter or a grocery store or something else. That I would have brought that to you and said, Mission turned them down. Would you like to come here? The answer thus far has been no.
Right. And I understand. The thing is, it just seems like we're building a building to build a building, basically, to put into a site where there's nobody to go into the building. And you talk about after 10 years, tax breaks, all this kind of stuff, pardon my language, but we've been fucked before by the unified government when it comes right down to it, and the proof is called the Legends, Village West. That whole area is basically, I remember before that went in and they started moving people off their property to build it, they were like, hey, after a number of years, your taxes are going to go down, Well, they keep going up, and keep paying more, and we haven't seen anything as the rest of the county. Now, if you live, I'm sure, over by the Legends and Piper and all those areas there, you see some nice stuff. But it's like the rest of the I live over in Turner, right off of 55th Street, and it's not desolate, but it's still a lot of stuff to be done. Why are we doing this here then? Why not, if nobody wants to move into this area, if it's such a bad place to put a business, then why is the unified government not maybe, I don't know, clean up the area around, restructure some of these buildings here, get a tenant to go in there? It sat empty for 10 years. What's another few more years going to do if we revitalize what's already here first?
Rising interest rates, the fear of another recession, the here and now, the world that we live in. Those are part of the answers.
Fear.
And the thought is that why we would build these buildings? To bring a place where people want to have businesses and furnish jobs and get tax dollars going. And some of these businesses, they might charge a sales tax. I don't know because I don't know the tenants. But if they do, I'm not asking for any of that as part of this deal, unlike a TIF or a lot of other projects. And that's just one portion of the site. So I do not feel like these discussions are mutually exclusive. Because I've had similar ideas to what you've had before. I've had a long time to think about this. And while it might seem as though there is a rush to this process, we've been working on thoughts and ideas for this site for an awfully long time. An awfully long time. And one of the common elements that stayed with this and many different ideas and plans is we need the businesses and jobs to help provide an engine, and hopefully an economic engine for the community as well.
Woodlands is right there, $70 million waiting for it. If we are in that dire of need, we need to call Phil Ruffin, which I'm not happy about having gambling in the community, but they put it here. He is ready to put his own money. If we're that desperate, then we need to be having a different conversation. This is an unfair conversation. These are scare tactics. These are push tactics to force us, which apparently they're going to do regardless of what we want, into accepting that this is a horrible property in a horrible area. It's too big. We can't do anything. So we need to build something right now. So take what we're giving you. I think that's wrong. I think that's bad. I think that's bad relationship for us to go into.
If I may interject real quick, it seems as if we haven't heard the committee's voice, in all this matter here. We've heard Lane 4, which is great, but we need to hear what the city is saying. What is going on with this matter? How was this decision made? How did it come to this? What are their terms?
So, I attended an EDF, Economic Development and Finance meeting in late January, where the idea of a business park as a concept to this portion of redevelopment was floated. I was instructed to bring back this deal
April 6th,
for consideration. No, that was on January 30th.
but it was brought back, the proposal was brought back on April 6th meeting.
The proposal was brought back on March 30th, I believe. On January 30th, the Standing Committee, Economic Development and Finance, which I do not sit on, neither does District 8 Commissioner.
But before the UG Commission, it came up on April 6th.
Correct, so let me
And then now, it's supposed to come up for vote on the 27th of this month?
Well, what I'd like to do is be specific about what's happening. So, on January 30th, Lane 4 came to the Economic Development and Finance Committee. That committee invited Commissioner Johnson from District 4, myself as at-large, and Commissioner Philbrook from District 8, so that we could hear the conversation Lane 4 was bringing. The conversation Lane 4 brought in January was kind of everything he's laid out here. Couple 2.5 to 3 years of seeking what we thought was
We appreciate the work
desired
he's done.
retail and the difficulty they were having in securing retail tenants. So that committee said to Lane 4, fine, on the back third only, we will entertain a proposal for a light industrial flex tech project. And we want you, Lane 4, to bring it.
Were there community meetings that
I beg your
led to,
pardon?
were there community meetings that led to that decision that the committee made?
No, that was an open public meeting that does allow for comment from the public.
But why don't we hear about this until it's on paper?
Well, and I will say, especially, let me just finish. On March 30th, Lane 4 brought back to Economic Development and Finance. That night, I was actually asked to sub in for a commissioner who was going to be absent and sit as a voting member of the committee. Lane 4 brought back that project. There was a lot of discussion, again, an open public meeting where the public was allowed to comment. And it became very evident at that point that not only did we need to hear more from the public, that we also needed to hear more from the full commission. So the following week, on April 6th, we had a 5 o'clock special session with the full commission, again, to discuss this project. I think hindsight is perfect vision. We could have been and should have been having public discussions all along, starting maybe in 2014 when we rang up Lane 4 and said, nobody's responding to this RFP. Will you please take a look at what you can do? multiple sets of minutes, public comment sessions at the Unified Government where I've read a lot of kind of the same kind of comment about what the community was asking for. We had a couple of public budget sessions in 14 and 15 where I went back through and read minutes of those meetings where the community was present and did tell us some of what they wanted to see at Indian Springs. Were we deliberate in convening public conversation meetings about Indian Springs? We were not. We were not. We should have been. But on March 30th, when Lane Ford did what we asked them to do, bring us a proposal, it was very clear at that moment, we've got to bring the full commission together and we've got to bring the public to the table. And that's where we are.
And Commissioner, can I mention too that if you want to see that special session that they had on April 6th, they aired them live on UGTV and they're aired live on YouTube. But you can go back and watch it on YouTube. So if you want to go watch that April 6th discussion, you can. And then next week, the commission will get back together on the 27th to vote on this project. That's an open meeting. It's also live on YouTube. It's also on UGTV. So I'd encourage you to watch or participate that way as
It's
well.
not a
But-
vote on the project.
For those of those that don't have internet access or that access, you can't get a copy of those minutes from that meeting until after they're approved next week.
Right.
So if you're without internet access, you can't have access to those YouTube public meetings.
Right.
Therefore, the public is once again in the dark if they don't have the
They
access.
usually post them. Well, yeah, they have to transcribe the minutes.
It's not available yet.
Okay.
Well, I do agree that that is an extremely lengthy process because when I read my packets, for example, I'm reading my agenda packet for next week's Public Works and Safety meeting, and I'm reading minutes of meetings from February. So that is not an untrue statement. It is a very lengthy process to get minutes of meetings approved. But I did want to say, with regard to the agenda item on the 27th, that is not the final of this project. We have several more meetings before this project is a done deal, including a planning and zoning item, including final negotiation of a development agreement. So
So what is the vote on the 27th concerning this proposal?
it's a technical vote, in my opinion. It's twofold. There's an existing TIF district on the former Indian Springs property. We would have to abolish that. And the second piece is a vote to move forward with the proposal that Lane Ford has brought forward.
Is there a copy available to the general public of the actual proposal that is before the city?
I believe there is.
And where would we find that?
In the March 30th agenda packet, which is available at wycokck.org.
March 30th agenda
I
packet?
believe that was the date. Was that a Monday? I'll double check my.
No, that was a
Oh,
Wednesday.
sorry, let me get you the correct date.
It's all blur.
Does anyone here have a copy of the proposal?
I'm sorry. You had a question, so I want to make sure.
No, I didn't have a question.
Or a
sir.
statement, I'm sorry.
No, I have something I need to say. Here's one of these. We need one of these. Janice.
March 27th.
We need to understand that if it was not for bees, we would not be here. We need to have some area there that you're going to be planting items. We're close to the area on 80, and little people could come out and help plant voluntarily, because you're talking about jobs, but also elderly people. Some of us don't work like we used to, and we need to have children now. You need to understand what pollinators are. They are hummingbirds, beetles, butterflies, wasps, bees, moths, bats, and flies. And we need those whether we know it or not, because without that, we don't have honey. Without honey, we don't eat. And we need to understand some things
Won't be
that,
around
I
for
brought
long.
some charts by to show you. Here's some of our pollinators. Here's some of the things that we need. And see, I don't know what they're gonna have, you all gonna have there. I just know that we need to think about our children and the elderly, who we might be able to work in some of the areas that you would have. So I'm just saying that we need to think about our future in the sense that we need to use the land for more than concrete buildings. Okay, it's just a thought. Now, even in your yard, you have native orchids, and you don't even know they're orchids. You just look at them as grass, but they're native orchids. They are pollinated. They can be pollinated by the butterflies. And we are losing our monarch butterflies so fast. And do you know that's where we get our honey, a lot of it? So we need to let them pollinate. We need to have some area there. It's just like I got a house here and I have a walkway here. I can plant some things. And we need to have people that are set aside to think about our land. This is about our land. Everybody should not be covered with just concrete. You know, concrete jungle it's not good. And we're a small city, like he said. We're a small city, but we can't, and we are growing larger. And we need to take everybody into contact with that. Our children and us as elderly. Some people say they won't be elderly, but you see, I've been here since I was born. I've seen so many changes. We used to have a whole lot of nice little businesses everywhere. Now, we don't have those. We got to face the fact we don't have what we used to have. And we got to understand some of the problem is you say, well, we don't have grocery stores and they're building all those little things. We can grow some things ourselves. You can grow food in a tub. I'm a master gardener, by the way. And so I know how you can grow potted plants. You can grow plants. Everybody needs to grow something. Okay. We don't need to sit and wait on the store to give us this and that. We can grow our own little stuff for individual things. So we don't have to go to the store all the time. Okay. It is a shame that we're having all these Dollar Generals and Family Dollars in our area. You know, that is sad. But there's some things we can do for ourselves. So I just didn't want you all to forget us as elderly and the land that we have around us that we can use that are not the buildings. Okay. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And there's a lot of land. And as you can see from this Google imagery, the site was covered from pavement to building face in its past life. Almost anything that you come back with has better opportunities for greenscaping, landscaping, stormwater retention, BMPs, and other issues on the site.
While you're up here, will you show where this is on that? Because I
Yes.
thought that wasn't clear earlier.
That represents 26 acres. And that entire primary site is 45 acres. So you're talking about.
This is the area that the unified government owns, about another 7 acres.
Right.
30 acres down here.
All that aside, you're talking about basically half of that main area there for $750,000.
Yes. No, I tell you, if I pay more to get more going here, these are buildings that will rent for $450 to $480 a square foot. These are flex spaces, and you see the same rents in Lenexa and Olathe. That's the economics of the deal.
So how much will like a typical office space cost? You said per square foot, $400. $4
$4.50
per.
a foot per year.
Triple net.
Triple that, very important part, yeah. But you're paying $2.14 for it,
Less,
right?
less than the
$7, like $1.
We're talking about a rental rate
Oh,
for that
okay. I'm
property.
talking about how much you're actually paying, the $750. That's $2.14.
like
And
$1.
So, we all need time to get to the next meeting. I want to thank you all. We had to stop at 5 o'clock. Yes.
Sorry, really quickly, there's one other portion that we need to mention to comply with some of the planning and zoning rules that we've spoken of, and that's just some quick descriptions of our landscaped areas and what we're doing
Hillary,
with
can
the
you walk
buildings.
us through that?
Landscaped areas, and just some general descriptions of the building. Hi, my name's Hillary Zaire. I work for Davidson
for
Don't put down our empty lot. We like our empty lot, and you all like it too. That's
For
why.
the bees.
you want it for
the
nothing.
bees.
No.
You don't want too many.
These are big topics.
Understand how important.
I'm glad they're important to you as they are me. Our deal is not done. It goes for a vote on the 27th. It's an opportunity like this, which is all elected for all of our purposes, to come out and the voice is heard. I appreciate your time, and hopefully appreciate the amount of time I've put in to help think through different ideas here. Would love to see you all at 6 o'clock at the USD 500 offices. If you can't make it, we were taking some notes for this meeting. We can get those to you from the sign-up list.